I was watching Ashley in Africa, her video, 5 Misconceptions About South Africa and the Truth. And it got me thinking as to why I would never move to South Africa. So she mentions a lot on her channel that you should not, listen to people who haven't been there, and you should visit and make your own decisions. Well, I have been there, and I want to tell you my experiences so that you can have a well-informed decision. But first, this is Tiffany Travels. We help women and families travel, build wealth, and live richer. So on my channel, you'll find travel vlogs from around the world, as well as interviews with expats who have moved abroad. If that sounds interesting to you, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. So the number one, or the first reason why I would never move to South Africa, is because I went there and I had a number of experiences in a short time. I was there for 10 days, and in a short time, I had a number of experiences which let me know this was not the place for me. So I walked into a shop. It was like a jewelry shop or a sunglass shop. I was looking for a gift for my mother. I walked into the shop. The shop owner looked up briefly, did not say anything, and there was nobody else in the store. I walked in, nobody else in there. She says nothing. So I'm like, okay. I go looking around. She still says nothing. And I think I asked a question, like, for example, how much is this? I asked something about the product in the store, didn't respond. So I just left. I walked out. It felt like what it must have been in the US around 1950, 1960, 1970s even, where you are thought to be someone who doesn't have any money, who can't afford this. You're in the wrong place. That is the feeling that I got from being inside that store. So the next thing is, we were going to a restaurant and we're walking by, and every restaurant has like somebody standing outside. They stand outside and they show you the menu and they usher you to your seat, to a table, like a hostess. So we walk up to the hostess and we say, we want to eat here. It was a group of 4 of us. All of us were people of color from the US. And she says, oh, there's no more tables. And we're looking and we can clearly see open tables. We see open tables outside. We can see through the glass into the restaurant that there's open tables in the restaurant. And we say, well, what about that table right there? And she says, oh, this table. Oh, you want to sit here? Yeah, you can sit here. So we go inside and we sit down at the open table, and we're like, what was that about? And one of the people in the group, she says, I think they were trying to hear our accent. They were trying to see where we're from, if we can afford to eat here, if we should be here. And then once we said, what about that table over there? They were like, oh, yeah, come on in. So that was another experience where it was like, where are we? What century is this? What's going on? What decade is this? So we had to remember that apartheid ended in the 90s. It wasn't that long ago. It's within my lifetime. So the 90s is within my lifetime. It wasn't that long ago. And we were there, it was 2017, I think. So, 25 years later, there are people who still vividly remember what it was like to be in an apartheid system. The other thing was, all of the workers were people of color. All of the patrons were Caucasian South Africans. So it was very stark, very obvious as to who the restaurants were for and who they were not for. We also went to Robben's Island, and we went to visit the jail cell where Nelson Mandela was held for years. I think it was about 30 years he was there. And they were explaining to us some of the apartheid system within the prisons. So within the prisons, they had different menus based on your race. And over there, it wasn't just black or white. There was black, there was colored, and colored was if you were mixed, if you were, white and black mixed together, they called that colored. So they had black, they had colored, they had white, and they had another one which basically meant Asian or Indian, something of that descent. So on this menu for the people who were prisoners was a menu for the blacks and a menu for the coloreds. And the coloreds would get more food, they would get more, like a larger serving of meat, they would get more portions, they would get more frequency of meals because they were colored, as opposed to someone who was straight African. And that's when I realized the level of hatred that was involved in this apartheid system. If you are even putting together menus based on their race. And apartheid was far more divisive than segregation was in the US. So if I'm going to pick somewhere to move, I want to move somewhere where I am far removed from these types of systems. I understand that you can't escape racism. I understand that racism is everywhere, but you can, to an extent, escape systemic racism. You can escape where your government, your education, your institutions are fractioned based on race. That I think I can get away from. And if I had to pick a place, it's not going to be a place that had a worse system than the United States. What do you think? What are your thoughts? YouTube says you should watch this video right here, but I think you might enjoy this one.